Hello everyone, and thank you very much for joining us here in the newsroom. I'm Eoh Jin-joo. We kickstart this week with a grand ceremony of historical inauguration of President Park Geun-hye. It certainly was a day filled with emotion, drama, and history as Koreans celebrated and welcomed the first female president of Korea. Now, Arirang News reported on this glorious celebration as it happened from the scene, and I had a chance to talk to some of our reporters on this very special day. In the newsroom begins right now. Tan, good to have you on the show. Thank you very much for joining us.
It's been a while. It feels good to be back. I thought everyone forgot about me, but
no, of course not.
This and the newsroom talks certainly have a different vibe from anchoring, so it's good to be back.
Yeah, well, we had a great start to this week with a momentous celebration taking place in the nation. Obviously, the inauguration ceremony of President Park Geun-hye, and there was a beehive of activity here in the newsroom, and of course, Tan, you were in charge of that very newscast. How did it go?
Well, as you all know, it started at 11 a.m., which is just an hour before my 12 o'clock newscast. So luckily, or unfortunately, I had the honor to do the special coverage on this historic event. I wouldn't have been able to pull it off without the help from our reporters, especially from our Eoh Jin-joo here, who provided us with so much information in the studio, and Jin-joo 선배, who's probably mad busy at the presidential office right now. They really played a big role in completing this special coverage. But as for me and Mark, who my co-anchor, who couldn't be here with us today, we had to do a coverage live on this historic event for more than 100 minutes. It certainly wasn't an easy task.
It's been a long day.
And believe me, Mark, and Eoh Jin-joo, we prepared a lot prior to this event. I mean, this is such a huge ceremony. The country's first female president, the first father-daughter president, it grabbed worldwide attention, so we prepared a lot, but it wasn't all smooth sailing, honestly. But I did get some feedbacks from our viewers around the world, and
What did they
said
say?
some good stuff. They actually liked it. They liked it, so it was very encouraging to hear some positive feedback.
Yeonji, how did it go for you?
Oh, as Tan said, it was a lot of me talking about the program of the ceremony and how, what kind of events are taking place each minute, and just, it definitely helped, how I did some research from here and there before the inaugural day.
And you've done a lot of coverage from the political front, so.
That's right. So it really did help me, how I try to find more information about the ceremony, the time that I had at the National Assembly or at other places. You don't know, until you go on air, what kind of subjects we would bring up, while we are talking about the live feeds that we are getting, what kind of things are happening on the stage. So, I think I learned through this experience how I gotta be ready at any minute, to talk about just anything, hopefully relevant things. So it was definitely a great experience.
우리가 제일 첫 번째로 해놓은 거예요. 빨리 해. 와이파이 괜찮은데?
거기다 얘기는 한번 해주세요. 지금
이어 안 했나? 5, 4, 3, 2, 캐주얼 4가
Hello and welcome to the special inauguration edition of Arirang News. I'm Han-daeun in Seoul.
And I'm our broom.
시작했습니다.
But without further ado, let's cross over to the National Assembly where our presidential office correspondent Eoh Jin-joo is standing by to hear more details directly from the venue. Hello, Jin-joo. When will President Park schedule to arrive?
Well, President Park has visited the National Cemetery
stand-by.
performances prior to the leader arriving here at the venue as to pay respect to the former leaders of Korea after leaving her house at Samsung-dong, southern Seoul at around 10 a.m. She will soon be arriving here at the venue as the actual inaugural ceremony will start at 11 a.m. Korea time. She has visited the National Cemetery this morning. We're all here to attend Park's inaugural ceremony.
Okay, thank you. That was Eoh Jin-joo there at the National Assembly.
Park Geun-hye actually people from all walks of race.
We are joined by our political correspondent Kim Yeon-ji in the studio. Hello, Yeon-ji.
Good morning, Mark Taun.
He allowed presidential office due Tuesday. So we could really see that President is
School violence, children, those things are also included.
Tuesday. All right, now we can see President-elect Park Geun-hye waving hands before some 70,000 people. And she's also accompanied by some 30 representing citizens from various different backgrounds and in different ages.
지금부터 대한민국 제18대 대통령 취임식을 거행하겠습니다.
Now, the march of the gallant soldiers dressed in traditional Korean costumes are really adding the park to this prestigious event.
Right, how lively.
Let us all work together towards a new era of happiness and hope, so that we can all become partners in another miracle or a new chapter in the miracle on the Han River.
박근혜 대통령은 선거 중에 약속한 민생, 약속, 대통합 대통령 등 세 가지를 반드시 지키겠다.
So what struck out the most for you guys? I mean, it was a long ceremony, but there are lots to catch up on. Music, dance, Suna?
I remember seeing some famous faces during the ceremony. I saw some popular athletes, former weightlifter as well as Olympic gold medalist Jang Mi-ran, and also former baseball player Park Chan-ho was there too. And there were also some 100 ordinary citizens from all walks of life to represent each sector of the country, and they were actually on the podium with President Park Geun-hye. So I think that was quite interesting to see. And one of them was little Sai Hwang Min-woo.
I saw that little guy.
Yeah, he's a very small guy. Yeah, he was to represent the multicultural families of this country. So that was quite meaningful.
I mean, it took place in a very mild the weather conditions, and some 70,000 people actually showed up. That's a record number, isn't it?
Unprecedented. I heard that President Park Geun-hye invited some 60,000 initially, but more than 90,000 people actually registered to show up at the National Assembly for this thing. So I heard officials had to increase that number to 70,000. It's unprecedented.
What struck me the most was the fact that this 38,000 square meter National Assembly square was like filled to its capacity. I mean, oh my goodness, so many people.
Quite a view.
I know that square is huge. Let me tell you, it's such a long distance walk for me to actually get there every morning, and just people from all across the nation and from overseas fill this square, and it was quite a scene.
And for me, it was the various performances that were showcased. Some of Korea's greatest hit songs representing different decades, like from the 50s, 60s to the latest K-pop. including YouTube sensation size Gangnam Style. So I think that really reflected President's will to bring in, all sorts of people from diverse backgrounds, different age groups, and really push for national unity.
Well, for me, the moment really struck me the most was when she was staring up at the sky, and it looked as if she was, maybe praying, or just the fact that her father and mother might be looking down at her proud daughter. It's really emotional.
And also when she was doing the President's March toward the National Assembly's main gate, she had this huge smile that I've never seen before. I mean, life certainly wasn't easy nor ordinary for her, but really, her mother was assassinated, both of them, gunshots.
Return to the Blue House in 33 years must have been very emotional for her.
But really, I saw this huge smile on her face, and I thought she must be really, truly happy.
Well, some of the vocab, you did a review on what was said during her inauguration speech. Can you tell us more, Sanga?
Well, happiness is definitely one of them.
That is one of the words that was most frequently used during the speech. Actually, the most frequently used vocabulary was Korean people. That was mentioned 57 times, followed by happiness 20 times and hope 9 times. So it was certainly a message of hope and happiness for all of the Korean people, I think.
It might sound trite, because we've heard this a lot, happiness, but it seems like she's extremely determined to, live up to her goals. Especially one noted fact is that a small and medium-sized firm was organizing this very huge event, because beforehand it was mostly large conglomerates like Samsung or CJ who were in charge of this event. So maybe it really reflected her sort of will to promote small and medium-sized firm. Is there anything that really caught your attention, policy goal-wise?
So on that note, so she really wants to make Korea a more inclusive economy, as you said. So one of the things that she ordered her inaugural preparatory committee was that only small and medium-sized firms with less than 300 employees and with a yearly sales of less than 22 billion US dollars could really participate in preparing for this event. So I thought it was quite nice, that she did that. So she really wants to make this economy more inclusive, and she expressed her resolute will to reform the chaebol in Korea.
Right, lots on her to-do list, I'm sure. So it's going to drive our presidential correspondent Eoh Jin-joo quite busy. I think our producer has her on the phone. I mean, she wanted to be here to talk about this very special ceremony that she partook. But hi, Jin-joo.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us. Are you at the presidential office right now?
Yeah, I'm out at the presidential office.
Oh, I see. We were just talking about how we've just welcomed our first female president, and we're talking about some of the notable changes that we can expect for the next 5 years under her term. So can you tell us more about what we can expect, or what you can expect from the presidential office?
Well, as you said, a lot of things will change, and I'll just focus on the things that will change at the presidential office. First of all, the number of female bodyguards here at the Blue House will increase. And until now, female bodyguards were mainly in charge of protecting the First Lady or the President's family members, but their role will be increased with a female president taking office. Now, there are currently only about 10 female bodyguards at the Presidential Security Service, so this number is expected to grow. And another thing is that the presidential residence and the main building of the presidential office have been renovated to fit the needs of an unmarried female president. So, for example, they have got rid of a men's toilet in the bathroom that is right next to the president's office and installed a women's toilet instead. And President Park has brought most of her furniture she used to use to her presidential residence, and will continue to have the same housekeeper and the same hair designer that used to work for her before she was elected as president. And many predict that she will have a female family doctor, but this hasn't been decided as of yet. There could be a male family doctor for her. We'll never know as of yet. And another interesting thing is here at the room where the reporters are staying is that the number of female reporters has seemingly increased compared to the Lee Myung-bak administration.
Wow, that's good to know. And you are one of them. I see. So, Jin-joo, I know I'm sure she's keeping herself extremely busy, like continuing her inauguration diplomacy, like meeting with like foreign delegations and so forth. But what does she have in store for next week?
Well, not much has been said here at the presidential office. As you know, none of the cabinet members have passed their parliamentary confirmation process, and most of the officers that will work here at the presidential office with the senior presidential secretaries remain undecided. So right now, the officers of the previous Lee Myung-bak administration are coming to work to help them out and to settle down the current Park administration. So things are not that stable at the moment. So reporters are hardly being informed about the next day's schedule, so I think it'll be too early to talk about next week's schedule when we don't even know what will happen tomorrow.
Okay. All right, Jin-joo, thank you very much for your hard work, for talking to us.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
So we talked about some of the changes we could expect from the next 5 years. So let's talk about some of the challenges. And I'm sure we have quite a number of things we could talk about when it comes to security and regional issues. So now you did a report on that.
Yes, I did a report on reactions from 3 key countries, the United States, Japan, and China. Experts are saying that the stronger than ever alliance between U.S. and Korea is likely to continue over the next 5 years, even under the new leadership of President Park Geun-hye. But as for Japan, it's quite a different story because we're having a lot of problems with Japan, with the Takeshima Day celebration last Friday being the latest one. But interesting thing is that Prime Minister Abe Shinjo expressed his intimacy towards President Park Geun-hye. He said he met with Park Geun-hye twice personally, and his grandfather, ex-Prime Minister Kishi, was a close friend of Park Geun-hye's father, Park Geun-hye. So I think he's trying to do something to make the relationship better, but I think we will have to see because there are a lot of tensions going on. And as for China, it's quite friendly because China was the first country that President Park Geun-hye sent envoys to shortly after her victory in the presidential election. And she is able to speak Chinese language. So the China CCTV reported on the inauguration day that she is a competent speaker of Chinese. And China also sent its highest-ranking female politician to attend the ceremony, and she's likely to become China's next vice premier in March.
Well, speaking of North Korean issue, the key question that most foreign media are looking out for the most is whether President Park will veer away from former President Lee Myung-bak's hardline stance toward North Korea. And her North Korea policy, of course, would matter a lot because it would set up, it would almost determine whether to resolve North Korea's nuclear issue or not. So
yeah, in fact, a lot of the foreign media, they've been questioning whether President Park can deliver or not only the economic matters, but also when it comes to dealings with North Korea. I mean, she's been stressing the Peninsula Trust building. Yeah, trust building process. I mean, that doesn't really look it's going to be easy since we've experienced the third nuclear test.
It almost seems like it's invalid now. And speaking of Korea-Japan relations, I once heard a Japanese daily Sankei Shimbun report that it won't be easy for President Park to lend a friendly gesture to Japan out of necessity because hostilities toward her father and former President Park Geun-hye, his pro-Japan stance still lingers in some parts of the Korean society. So.
And she said many times that she remains firm on the issues of, Dokdo Islets and also the former convert women who had to serve as sex slaves, during the World War II. So I think Japan is making gestures to, somehow make this Korea-Japan relations better, improve the relations, but I think it'll be kind of difficult to come by. I think her policy is not going to be too much different from that of former President Lee Myung-bak, but she would have her soft side as well because she's a female leader. So it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, she did, in her inauguration speech, she seems extremely determined to make sure that Korea becomes a place where everyone is happy, that she wants to make sure the second miracle on the Han River gets realized. I mean, there are a lot of goals out there, I'm sure. She will be working extremely hard to make sure that happens. So I guess we'll have to see. I mean, it hasn't been even a week yet since her inauguration. So fingers crossed, hopefully she'll do a good job. Thank you so much, and thank you very much for being here with us, and hope you guys have a great day and a great weekend.
All right.
Bye. Arirang TV and Korea Foundation jointly hosted the very first Global Media Forum here in Seoul last week. Some 300 guests from more than 20 countries gathered to explore the theme, Bridging the Divide, a topic which can't be more fitting in this ever-changing global paradigm. Well, I had a chance to take part in this very special event, and here are some of the highlights. Let's take a look. I thank your distinguished guests, ambassadors, speakers, panelists.
Bridging the advanced countries and holding their spirit in hostile and sovereign regime in its interests. So we're going to be talking about public diplomacy and global media director of the Global Strategy and Development at the U.S. Media global. And you also spend a lot of time abroad. Like, what do you think the past has a clear role, whether it's media, whatever the past is, the U.S. or predominantly the EU, and is
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome you to the dinner gala of the first Arirang Korea Foundation Global Media Forum. So let's give it up for Korea's music group, Soria. Building upon the fruits of democratization and industrialization.
Visited the National Cemetery this morning.